What's up, ladies and gents? In today's video, we're going to take a look at the brand new C8 Corvette 2026 that we recently got in with that brand new interior. I'm going to give you my first impressions, my first thoughts, and we'll kind of just take a look at it together. Before we do that, I thought of something last night that I think would be a great way to start some of my videos. So in this video, I'm going to ask a question, and in the comments, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic that we're going to discuss. And then what I'll do is I'll read those comments, and in the beginning of the next video, we'll have a discussion based on what your thoughts were versus what my thoughts were. And the idea here is that we can maybe bridge the gap between salespeople and customers, or like the dealership and customers, by understanding what you would want in a particular situation. And then maybe we adapt the way we sell cars to make you feel more comfortable. For today's question, I want to ask you this. You're home, you're thinking about a car, you've been shopping online, you decide you want to take a drive to a dealership to see stuff in person. So you leave your house, you drive down the highway, you pull onto our property, our lot. We're open for business, meaning salespeople, everyone's here, we're at work. You park your car, you get out, you start walking around the parking lot, checking out the inventory, kind of window shopping, if you will. At that point, how do you want us to intervene? How do you want us as a salesperson or a dealership to approach you when you're here on the lot? Now, there's also going to be a corresponding poll I'm going to put up on my post page, the community page, to kind of get an idea too of what your thoughts are. I'm going to gather all the info based on that poll, based on your comments, and when we start the next video, we're going to have a little discussion about what I've learned. Now, let's check out that Corvette. How beautiful is the update to this interior? Absolutely phenomenal. And I gotta be honest, I'm a fan of the current C8, like the 2025 interior, like the one I have in my car. My only complaint with that car is that the screen is a little small when you're using your navigation and stuff like that. I mean, the functionality is great, it's there. I think for me personally, it's more because I'm driving an Equinox EV every day where the screen is huge. So when I do get into the C8, it's kind of like, the screen's kind of tiny. The nav screen's tiny. If you're using the split screen with like nav and Pandora, the nav is like a little tiny thing. But again, you're not driving the Corvette in a sense for screens, you're driving it for performance and for exhilarating fun. This, however, is a very nice upgrade. It makes me feel a lot more like I'm in the Equinox EV. The nav screen is super nice. Obviously, it's Google Maps built in. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the center screen, and we're going to talk about the new third screen off to the left here, which is pretty nice as well. First, let's just touch base with some of the basics, right? Everything on the door panel here, as far as like memory seating, windows, mirrors, locks, that's all the same as what we're used to. Same thing here on the passenger side. You have your memory seat, you have your window, your lock, all that sort of stuff. Same button here to open and close your glove box. Same basic console here as far as for storage. When we get just in front of that, that's where we're gonna see the major difference. You do have two cup holders without that door on top. Now, I like the fact that they put the little silver ring here, because in my opinion, when you take your cup and you put it in the cup holder while you're driving down the road, you may not be looking at it. So if that silver ring wasn't there, I'm sure you'd be marring up the trim here. With the silver ring, hopefully it hit that, and that should protect that those cup holders and protect you from marring any of the surface up on there. In front of that, we have the new wireless charging pad. Very nice location here to put it. It's got this little retractable door that's gonna kind of hold the phone down. Actually, I can put my phone in here now, and it does fit and it holds it in place. Much easier to use than the one that was behind us here in the center waterfall feature. Due to the new design here, obviously the big wall of buttons is no longer. I'm actually a fan of that layout. I don't mind it at all. I think it's highly functional. I think it's nice for the passenger to be able to use their buttons for their climate control and heated and ventilated seat, you know, that sort of stuff. In this case, the passenger, if they want to do anything, they're going to have to reach to the panel here or to the screen. I do really like the fact that with the update, you get a grab handle for the passenger. That's something we used to see in the C7 and the C5s. Trying to remember if the C6 had that. I don't recall, and it's funny because I had two of them. But I like that feature for the passenger. This has been lowered, I would say, probably about an inch or so from where the other one was. I guess the angle of where that row of buttons was. So it does give you a little bit more of an open feel, maybe less of a wall for the passenger side. And we're gonna hop in the passenger seat later and kind of take a look and feel what it's like there. But it also feels, with this new little design element, how they did this, it feels wider. So again, less claustrophobic maybe. The screen obviously is bigger, it's been extended, and they added a nice row here of buttons below the vent to control your climate control as far as your temperature for driver and passenger, your fan speed, your defrost for front and rear. You have a power button, you can turn it all on or off. And then you'll always have, like many of our Chevy vehicles now, a row below your screen that will always be there no matter what page you're on, which is going to be ventilated seats, heated seats, some AC controls. If you press the button, you can see you can change where you want your air, the direction, all that sort of stuff, which is nice. It's nice that it's right here. And as you can see, we could also pull up a full screen layout of your climate as well. With this having Google built in, if you want to use those commands as well, you can do that. You can do some stuff by voice. Again, our systems here with Chevrolet are very easy to operate. They're very quick, very responsive. I like always going to the map screen, and you can like pinch zoom and you can move the map. Like, it's very, very responsive and quick, which is nice. This will have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, so you can use your phone systems on the screen if you choose not to use Google built in on the car. It's also nice to mention you can press hold and you can move these icons wherever you want them. So if you want certain things on certain pages, you can do that and you can customize it. You should also be able to customize the left side here. Let me do this. Click, drag. Yep, you can take it off. Let's say I want to put my camera icon on the left. On the quick reference screen, you can do that. So if you were, let's say, in your navigation, now you have a quick touch button to get to your camera. Now, in this car, you don't really need to do that because they actually put a quick touch button for the camera right here. So if I press that, that will also bring up the camera. Now, the camera in this car is just like we had in the previous year. It's gonna be your front corners looking down on the front nose. So if you're pulling into parking spots, you don't hit that curb stop. You also have a backup camera. So it does not yet have like surround vision and side cameras and stuff like that, which I kind of wish it did. Since we're looking at the buttons right here, because this is new, we no longer have that mode button with the knob. You just have a toggle. So as you toggle this up or down, that's what's going to bring you through touring, sport, track. Once you're in my mode, you could adjust. Do you want sport braking? Do you want touring? You can do your engine sound. So you can manipulate this right on the screen. When you're in that mode, it's super easy. It'll drop off and disappear in a couple seconds, or you can press the X here to close that screen out. The last button you have here, if your vehicle is equipped, is the front lift. That's going to be the one that raises and lowers the vehicle 2 inches in the front when you press that button. Now, these buttons are chrome. They do have an emblem on it which shows you what it is. Kind of hard to see, doesn't really matter. Once you know what the button is, it's there. So I think it's laid out and done very nicely. Right in front of that, you have your shifter, which is exactly what we're used to. So you have your park, you pull tab for reverse, pull tab for drive, press for neutral, press for manual mode. Of course, when you're in manual mode or when you're just in drive, if you want to use your paddles, you have your up shifts on the right, down shifts on the left. Steering wheel, basically the same as what we're all used to. We have our heated button, your Bluetooth controls, a couple controls for, you know, changing contacts and radio sources, things like that. You do have volume here on the right, your favorite stations or to skip songs and like Pandora and Spotify, stuff like that on the left. Cruise control still here, your Z mode still here on the wheel. I did notice, oh, there it is. It does light up red still. That's pretty cool. Once you press Z mode, again, you can go right on the screen and you could adjust, you know, whatever settings you want. And then when you don't want Z mode on, you just press it and it's back off. Like that. Our front screen here in front of us, our speedometer, tachometer, you know, what's showing you your fuel range, your coolant temperature, that sort of stuff. Right now, I believe we are in sport mode. Now to change that, you're gonna have to go to the all news screen, which is here on the left. Now this is really pretty cool. There's a little button on the bottom here on the left. You just give it a press and that's your layout. You can choose. So right now we're in sport. If I choose touring, it'll change to our touring layout. If I change to track, it'll go to our track layout. And then you can hit this little toggle here, which says link to drive mode. So whatever you do here with your drive mode, it will appear that way on your screen. Pretty neat feature that this screen is a touch screen. I really like that a lot. Let's go back to our 3 little buttons here. If you do performance, you'll see all different performance temperatures and PSI and things like that. You got your tire pressures, your G-force meter, your engine output, your ELSD coupling, and then back to the beginning. You also have your trip odometer here. So when you press that on, you have your trip 1, trip 2, your drive summary, and then you'll notice it says hold to reset. So if you press and hold, you can reset that out to 0. You'll also notice there's a couple buttons on the bottom here. One is going to be to turn your lane assistance on or off. The other one's going to be turning on or off the motion sensor alarm system. The last one is going to bring up the head-up display, which is the screen in front of you that you see on the bottom of the windshield. This is where you could adjust your height, your brightness, and then if you swipe over, you can pick your head-up display theme, whether it be touring, sport, or track. Now the layout of these screens is phenomenal. We still have the same shape steering wheel, which gives you great visibility to your speedometer screen in front of you. This left-hand screen, it's kind of hard to tell on video, but like where I'm sitting comfortably right now, my eye sees just enough of that screen. Like I'm probably seeing about that much of it, you know, the wheel blocking maybe the very far right-hand side. So you can actually see that while you're driving in your peripheral vision, which is nice. And of course you have your wheel here, but it splits right to where this screen ends and this screen starts. So it's visually laid out very, very nicely. I'm trying to bring the camera back to where I'm sitting, probably about here, as far as what my visual sight lines are on these different screens sitting in my normal driving position. I absolutely love it. I mean, the car feels identical to the one that I own, right? The previous generation interior, but it is laid out much nicer. It has a nicer feel to it as far as the layout of the screens. I don't know how important that is to somebody. Like if you were looking at a 25 versus a 26, if the deal in a 25 was better, I'd probably still go with a 25. If the deal was very similar to a 26, or if the 26 was exactly what I wanted, you know, it's a no-brainer that yes, the 26 is going to be the better way to go. 2 other things I want to mention on the screen here. I do want to point out vehicle status, which is going to be like all your maintenance type things. So it'll show you tire pressure, oil life, engine air filter, trans fluid life, trans filter life, all on one screen, which is real nice. Then you have an engine and battery voltage meter, your fuel economy meter. So that's under your vehicle status tab or app. And then the performance menus in this is definitely better than the previous car. You're getting some different horsepower and torque meters in real time as you're driving. You're getting some graphs that we can't see now, but it looks like you can do it for different time periods and things like that. You also have different gauges, which actually this gauge panel is the same that we saw over here. So you can use it on this side as well. And then lastly, you have a, looks like a lap timer, or a 0 to 60, oh, this is all your different times, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, quarter mile, and 60 to 200. So pretty neat that you can actually, you can do this and actually check it out. The best score, 9.7 seconds to 60 and an 18.5 quarter mile. Now this vehicle has 13 miles on it. That must have happened at the factory because this car was dropped off. We unwrapped it. We had it in the shop. It's been in the shop for probably about a week and we didn't even PDI it yet. So it hasn't been on the road here. I just drove it out to make this video. So this was done probably at the factories for testing. Now I gotta fire this thing up because I need some AC in here. It's getting rather hot. I'd love to hear your input, so let me know in the comments what you think about the car itself. And also, don't forget that question I asked in the beginning. I did put the poll up on my community page, so you can vote there with the choices I gave you. And I'd love to hear your input. Let's learn from each other, and let's kind of give each other our point of views from either the customer's point of view or the salesman point of view. And then maybe we can help adapt to each other and make buying a more pleasurable experience for everyone.